Good morning, YouTube. Reseller Mom here. Welcome to today's show. Unfortunately, Tina had something come up and she will not be joining us, which makes me sad. But you know what? Sometimes that happens and we've got to just kind of roll with the punches. So today we were going to talk, and I'm going to talk about shipping supplies because we are getting into Q4, and what that means is merchant fulfilled shipping is going to be a big piece of our income in the next, I'll say 4 months, because January is still pretty big. We're in October, so November, December, the rest of October, so maybe 3 months. It's already halfway through October, and that is I am not ready. Time is flying. So between now and the end of the year, we are going to be doing a lot of shipping. So I thought I would go through, and we jotted down, I had pulled some supplies, I jotted down some notes, and I also pulled up some inspirational boards because I love going and looking at other people's shipping stuff to see what do they do? What kind of cool hacks do they do that make their area run smoother? So I'm always interested in that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is boxes. I get a majority of my boxes either through USPS and or Staples. I have found that Staples runs good deals. I can get most of my boxes for about 50 cents a piece, between 50 and I'll say 65, sometimes up to 80 cents if it's a big box. But for small shipping boxes, that is my go-to. Now, you want to get these boxes early because in about 3 weeks, the shipping times are going to be insane. And if you have to last minute run to the store, because if you've ever worked Q4, you've probably done that, ran last minute to the store to get boxes, it can be expensive and a pain in the tush. My go-to stores, if that happens, because it does, is Walmart has 6x6x6 boxes and a few other sizes, and my Fred Meyer's, which is Kroger. So if you have a Kroger somewhere, that might be a good go-to. But kind of keep an eye for that. If you're out shopping and you're out and about, what stores maybe will have boxes. It's also nice to make friends in the neighborhood that maybe also do reselling. I have a couple people that live near me that are big eBayers, and I know that if I had to call in a pinch and be like, hey, I ran out of something, do you have spares? I might be able to work a deal with them. There's also tons of other ways to find boxes. I know one of my friends, they have a box wholesale store near them, and they've made friends with them, and now they just go buy their boxes wholesale from them. There are a lot of online places that do boxes, but I find that you have to usually get an enormous amount of boxes to make it worth the shipping cost that adds into that bottom line there. Okay, so let's talk some specifics about boxes here. First up, for USPS, that is the government post office, my go-tos are the small and the medium free boxes. These are still free, guys. This is this one put together. This one's slightly bigger. I don't have any put together. I guess I can put this together because as I am going to need it today. I use these for both merchant fulfilled, for eBay, and for FBA items because I have a lot of items that will fit in here. They are completely free. You go to, I am so wrong. This is UPS website. Oh my gosh. I need to drink more coffee. Okay, so UPS, these are free supplies. All you got to do is make a free UPS account. You go on there. It's on the bottom page of the free supplies. And I can bring that up in a minute and show you exactly what it looks like. But these are my go-to, and they are free. So I love free supplies. USPS is all marked usually this color. So flat rate mailers, definitely a go-to. I love using these. These are great for a lot of different items that will get out there. Of course, I have poly bags in several different sizes. I don't really want to go over each size. If you're just starting in this game, pick a couple of sizes and just run with it. And once you get built up a little bit in your business, then you can incorporate more sizes. My go-to sizes are 9x12, 11x14, and then I have a couple that are really big. So, if you were going to if you're going to buy one poly bag and you're like, what's the one size poly bag I would buy for this Q4, it'd be 11 by 14. That'd be kind of the most used because you can always put smaller things in there. You can't put larger things in the smaller bag. So if you are tight on budget and you just wanted to buy one, that is what I would go with. Let me see if I can bring up that site really quick. If you don't have a UPS site, it is really easy to make an account there. It's free. You don't have to buy anything. I think you might have to put in some business information and possibly some, if you were to check out some information there, but I don't think the only times I ever buy anything on UPS is if I pay for a pickup. And I don't pay for a pickup unless if I absolutely need it. It's under order supplies. Let's see here. Can I share this? I think I can. Give me just a second here. Share screen. Continue. Entire screen. Sorry, clicking on 2 screens at a time. Oh, ordering supplies is unavailable. Hold on, that's weird. That's not good. So it says ordering supplies is unavailable at this time. I would just call them. And that is also a good tip there too, because you can call them and they will let you order as much as you want on there. On the website, you can only get a box of 50 once a month. So, usually starting around June, July, I'll start just making sure I order 1 box a month for my boxes. And then by the time November comes, I have kind of a stockpile built up. But if you forget to do that, you can call them. You have to have the numbers to call them though. And I know I shared that. That's in my link tree for sure. But I do have a supply list. I'll bring that up as well. You have to have the numbers because they play dumb. I'm so surprised. Every time I've called, they're like, what boxes? We have boxes? Huh? What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, number 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're like, oh, okay, sure. Is this really what you want? I don't know. I'm same with Amazon people though, honestly. Every time I call them, they act like they're the dumbest people ever. Let's see here if I can do this. Yes. Okay. Right here on this link, which is in my link tree, the free UPS supplies are down here. We've got the thermal label roll. This is not going to fit in the Dymo, but if you have other thermal label machines, I want to say the Rollo fits this one. You can call and get packs of 100. And then we've got, it's called Craft Brown Medium Box and Craft Brown Small Box. You have to give them these numbers, 101, 95, 217, and 218. And then it is hard to get an agent online. So I have in my little note say, need a pickup. So you call, you get the phone tree, and it's like, press 1, press 2, press 3. And then you need to say, need a pickup. And then you ask for an agent. And then you can get through to a person. This took me forever. So once I figured it out, I was like, I've got to write that down. And that's the number right there if you need it for those supplies. All right. Next boxes I want to talk about is I couldn't find my 8 by 6 by 4, but I grabbed 3 other boxes that I use constantly. All right, 6 by 6 by 6s. These are from Staples. I love me a 6 by 6 by 6. All sorts of coffee mugs go in here, small toys, lots of things go in a 6 by 6 by 6. They're nice, compact. They're easy to store. They come in bundles of 25. And they run me about 50 cents a piece. So love these. These are great. You can also use any box to build more boxes. So I have definitely Frankenstein some boxes out of all this stuff. The next one, this one's a 10 by 6 by 4, but I absolutely love the 864. 864s will fit into these bags. It ain't pretty, but I'm sorry, 854s will fit into these bags. 864s will not. So I do like 854s because they will fit in here. 864s tend to be more cheaper, and that's fine. Like, just I usually get whatever is cheap online, and if it can fit into a flat rate, better. If not, then it's usually not that big of a shipping difference. So this is a great medium kind of medium-sized box. You can usually fit quite a few things in there. Good box to have on hand. And then the other one that I've been absolutely loving is 14-10-6. This bad boy fits a lot of stuff. It's still pretty manageable to keep. It fits boxes of shoes. So that's what I mainly ship out is shoes in this guy. But man, a lot of things. I had to ship 3 coffee mugs the other day. Used one of these guys. Lots of good stuff can go into here. So this one again is the 14-10-6. And they're a little bit more expensive than the smaller boxes, obviously, but they are still a pretty good deal. So I just go to Staples and I see what's on sale and kind of what don't I, get a small, a medium, and a large box. And that's what I have for merchant fulfilling. Now, for my FBA boxes, I'm still going with the medium boxes at Walmart. Get them in packs of 25. That's my go-to. If you hadn't noticed, though, Walmart has recently changed all their sizes of boxes. I believe that they do a contract with whoever produces all of their boxes. And when that contract is up, they negotiate a new one, and whatever that company says in terms of like size-wise, then they go for that. But their large boxes were 26 inches, I want to say, instead of the 25. So that was a bummer. If you want big boxes for Amazon, you're probably going to have to do Lowe's or Home Depot. The Walmart box for the large did come in and it was oversized. And I had to go return it. And that was I actually had my son do that one because I was like, oh my God, these boxes came in and they were an inch too big. And there's really no way to shrink that one down when that happens. Do I ever reuse other sellers' packaging? Absolutely for eBay. For Amazon, it would have to be in really good shape. So Amazon, they really want you to use a new box. I believe that's in the policy somewhere that you have to use a new box. And they come in pretty beat up. But for eBay people, absolutely. I will reuse boxes all the time. I do have to say, though, that a lot of the packages that I've been getting in have been using really cheap shipping materials. And by the time they get to me, they're so destroyed that it's not worth it to me to save the money to have the chance of something arriving damaged to my customer. Now, if I'm shipping, a baby blanket, obviously that doesn't matter. Whatever, reuse whatever you can, right? But if you are doing anything that might get crushed, then you're going to want to use a nice box. And these guys are the double corrugated. It's got a little bit of thickness to the wall. It's not that super thin stuff that you would get from, say, if you ordered wholesale from China, that cheap stuff that just really tears like paper. So you want to use something good. Good afternoon. Good morning. So hold on. Let's highlight here. Minnie Tai. Nice to see you. Good morning. And we've got Lexi Solution. Good afternoon. First time here. Nice to meet you. I'm a reseller as well. Nice to meet you as well. I hope you are having a good start of the Q4 season. What's my next one? Packaging and paper and bubble wrap. All right, my 3 go-tos for this. Get you some nice white tissue paper. If you're a fancy Etsy seller, sure, do your colored paper or your custom paper. I don't care if you want to pay up for paper, but I'm cheap and I go through tissue paper like it's nothing. So I get the 50-pound chunk from Amazon typically. Sometimes you can get a deal on it elsewhere, but when the holiday sales go on sale, that's a great time to pick it up at 70, 80, 90% off for the next year. But I typically just buy the 50-pound chunk and call it good. And then I have white tissue paper. We use that so much. I mean, when I'm filling up the boxes, if I need extra packing, I'll put white tissue paper in there. It's just good all around to have. The next thing I pick up is what's called like newspaper paper. I didn't grab it, but it's not the white paper. It's a packing paper. You can get it at Home Depot. You buy a big chunk of it, and it's sheets, usually about yay big, of just like recycled newspaper. It's a light brown packing paper, and that is a good go-to to wrap things up in or filler in a box. If I'm packing up a box of shoes in my box that I just did, I'll usually take one of those papers, kind of crumple it up, put it in there so that the box doesn't shift around while I'm packing. And that's kind of the cheapest packing paper to go to. Now we are going to see, I got some inspirational boards up here, the big rolls of paper. So they are about yay big, about yay thick, and it's called craft paper. Absolutely love me some craft paper. That's a great thing to have on hand if you can get it for a good deal. Just kind of a price point there. You know, do you want a roll of paper? Do you want a stack of paper? The stack of paper is nice on a shelf if you have an area where you can mount a roll of paper. That is super lovely because then you can pull out what you need, slice it off, and it's good to go. So I do love me a roll of paper as well. Bubble wrap. I get all of my bubble wrap from American Bubble Boy. Love them. Been using them many years now. And their bubble wrap is by far the best deal. Comes free shipping. Comes pretty quick. This has obviously been used. I usually buy the 4-pack at a time. It's the best deal on that. And then they do have deals for the recycled bubble wrap as well as the regular bubble wrap. So I usually get whatever's cheapest on sale. And this stuff I go through a lot. So how I decide which packing I'm going to be using kind of depends on what the item is and what is the customer presentation. So it's kind of a combination of that. If I am packing up this coffee mug and it's a brand new coffee mug to an Amazon person, then I'm going to use bubble wrap and the nicer packing. If I'm just putting some filler in with a box of shoes, I'm going to use the cheapest stuff. If I am making bundled kits where I need some filler inside an FBM box, but it's the box that's going to be having all their stuff in there. Let's say you were selling this coffee mug and like, I don't know, like a cozy or I don't know, something that goes with a coffee mug. Maybe a thing of, what do you call it? Cocoa, hot cocoa or coffee or something. Inside that FBM packaging, that's where I'm going to use my nice white tissue paper. And that's why I stick with white because I don't know what stuff I'm packing up. So I want something neutral. If I had all themed things or some sort of branding going, then I would maybe think about colored paper, but I don't. So keep it generic. I have found my bubble wrap used to get all over the place. This is my little hack. This is just a little, oh, now it's all over the place. This is a little push pin that I like that just keeps my bubble wrap tidy. I don't know about you guys, but my bubble wrap was always all over the place. So now I just pin it and it stays together and not all over the place. We're going to look at some boards here for inspiration. My stuff is not the inspiration. Like I cannot, as you see my background, this is not by any means Pinterest perfect. And you don't have to be Pinterest perfect for anything. Okay, let's go over the next thing. I have tape and labels. So Dymo, Rollo, whatever you use for shipping labels, get them now. Get them while they're on sale. I once had to buy supplies during Q4. It was like Black Friday or like the day after Black Friday. I couldn't find nothing and it was all 3 times the price. So I always stock up on my labels this time of year, both the FBA ones, these ones, anything that's extra labels. Like this is my gripper tape. I have another roll, but if you need extra gripper tape, and then the most important, packing tape. Holy smokes. If you have to buy packing tape last minute, you're going to like fall over by the price point. If you shop cheap like I do, you know, you're paying about $2, maybe $2.32 a roll. And if you have to last minute buy this, you're not going to be happy. But if you have to, Walmart's a good spot. Costco's a good spot. Sometimes Staples in store will run deals and you can get shipping tape. I also have 3 guns total now. I have 2 2-inches. I got 1 3-incher. And I've got 3-inch tape and the 2-inch tape. I love the 3-inch tape for some things. I mean, 3-inch tape is just like very nice to use. UPS or FedEx give free road. Yep, that was this one that I was sharing. This number right here is the direct thermal label roll. That is not going to fit in I don't know if you guys can see my Dymos on my desktop here. It does not, no, they're just out. Could I do that? That's my Dymos over there and my barcode scanner. They will not fit. Those rolls won't fit in your Dymo, but if you have a Rollo or something, you can definitely use those. That is awesome. I do not, this has been you'll see this debated on the boards. Do you put in a packing slip in your packages? I have never, in over a decade of selling, ever put a packing slip in anything. And I have never had one single problem with it. And I have shipped lots. I'm trying to, it's more than thousands. I don't know if it's millions of packages. It feels like millions of packages, but I have definitely shipped thousands and thousands of packages, both FBM, eBay, whatever, and I have never, ever put a packing slip in there. If you want to put a packing slip, that's awesome. Go for it. If you're a fancy Etsy seller and you do a fancy like handwritten note and on custom branded paper, more power to you. I don't. I'm not that type of person, and you're not gonna find that in my packages. All right, so that was tape equipment. I talked about the tape gun. This is my scale at home. I've taped it together. This poor thing has been beat up, but I just tape it back together and it's been going strong. I have another one that's smaller that if I had to, I could fit it in my purse. And when I started doing Merchant Fulfilled, I did bring a scale because you want to know how much that item is going to weigh. So getting yourself a little tiny scale, like a kitchen scale, something that's super tiny. If you're, if you can carry a purse or something with you, don't begrudge if you pull out a scale in the middle of the store, just kind of weigh it. And I have had people ask, and I just say, oh, I'm going to ship this to my niece or nephew or whatnot. And I just kind of want to get an idea about shipping. And they're usually like, okay. But you get a lot of weird looks in Q4 if you are a Q4 shipper and Merchant Fulfilled person for Amazon, because your carts always look a little weird and off, and you get a lot of attention. So just be ready for that. Anyhow, always have a backup scale. I now have a couple of scales just because I've had one break in the middle of stuff. And then you're like, well, shoot, how do I guesstimate the weight here? I want to make sure that I don't overpay or underpay. But I'm going to give you a little heads up. It's Q4. The mailman is not going to sit there and kind of judge your package and be like, shoot, this feels like 1.1 ounce instead of, or 1 pound, 1 ounce instead of 1 pound. It just goes. I have messed up on shipping, not intentionally, and been like, oh, shoot, it's already at the mail store. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And nothing happened. They just ship it. Worst case scenario, and I had this happen, I think, twice in my tenure, that they send it back to you because you didn't pay enough in shipping. And they say, you still owe whatever, $2 on this. And you got to go down to the store and you got to pay the extra money and get it shipped. Now, do I do that unintentionally? Absolutely not. I try to follow all rules here. But you know what? Sometimes things happen and you accidentally put in the wrong size, or instead of 16, you put 6, you typo. It happens. Don't lose sleep over it, I guess is where I'm going with that. It's more important to get your orders out than to, like, in terms of dings on your account. Like Amazon and eBay, and I'm going to assume Walmart too. I haven't pushed my luck on Amazon, or on Walmart. They will ding your account more so for unshipped items that you were supposed to ship out within a particular time period than if the weight was off by an ounce. So if it's like, oh shoot, I got to print out this label tonight, but my scale broke and I can't get a new scale till tomorrow, overestimate it and move on and get the scale tomorrow, but get that shipping label printed so that you don't get the ding on your account. Same with some of us will maybe overpromise on how many we have a quantity because we know we're going shopping tomorrow and we're going to find more of that item. I don't typically do that. I don't run on that, but I have had, seen other sellers say, oh, I oversold this. And, what do I do? I oversold. What do I do? Well, you need to find that item and you need to get it shipped. And if you're worried about dings on your account, because maybe you're sketching that side of being deactivated, if you absolutely know you can, like maybe you've already ordered it online for pickup tomorrow, then go ahead and get those labels printed. I have done that where I've printed the labels. I've gone and picked up my order with my boxes, put the stuff in the back of my car. I'm packing stuff up, tape it up, and put the label on, and then drove right to the store to get it dropped off. Good morning, William. Nice to see you this morning. Let's see here. I always print it out and still don't put it in it. I always forget. Yeah. Oh, keeping track of stuff during Q4. It's hard to be organized, but that is you need to try and be organized as best you can. All right. Other equipment. I have one of these, and you ought to have a backup because I did ship I packed up an FBA box one time, and my ruler went out with the FBA box. I'm sure they opened it up and they're like, and threw it away. So always have a couple ways to measure your boxes if you need to do some measurements. There is a hack, I'll mention this here, on, Pirate Ship. If you do a box and then stick it in a bag, there's a hack to get cheaper shipping there. So if you're interested in that and you do a lot of like box in a bag things, then you probably already know about this tip. If you don't know about this tip, there's like a bajillion videos done on it. Just do Pirate Ship box in a bag and you'll find the parameters of that. It's something to do, you basically take your box, you put it in a bag, and then when you are shipping on Pirate Ship, you say you're shipping a bag and they only require 2 dimensions, not that third. But I thought I'd throw that out there as well. Okay, for me, this is an absolute necessary. It doesn't have to be black rolled up bags, whatever garbage bag you want. I do this. I keep these in the car at all times during Q4 for 3 reasons. Okay, first up, if you are out shopping and you're getting a bunch of stuffies or toys, those little grocery stacks at the store ain't going to cut it. They ain't. So when I pull this out of my purse, yeah, I definitely have a bigger purse during Q4. Pull this out of my purse and I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I've got, a roll of bags. The checkout people are so like thankful. They're like, oh my God, thank you. That is great. You came prepared, yada, yada. But I have bought, like 100 stuffed animals at a time. My dog is throwing up. Okay, that's a lovely mess. Thank you guys. You all are. I wish that wasn't in the background here going on, but life is happening. Okay, so I use these to pack up toys. It's great. The person can just scan them and put them right in the bag. If you're at the self-checkout, you can just scan them, put them right on the bag on the weight table that you have to do. The other thing I use them for is when you have a bunch of packages for the UPS man. I've had the UPS man show up and I have 3 sackfuls of packages, and it's nice when they're in a large, somewhat hefty bag, not going to rip, and he can just grab the bag and go because they are trying to haul butt, right? Now, you're not going to get them scanned. If you want to get them scanned, you're going to have to print out a scan sheet. That's really easy on Amazon. I think they have it on eBay as well. Scan sheet, take your bags down to the UPS store and they will scan it. My guys that pick up here, they're not going to scan a scan sheet. Maybe they will. I've never, maybe they will. But I just hand them the bags and it goes, and I trust them. They're really good guys here. So hand them these bags. The other times I've used it as a makeshift poncho. You have a really bad rainy day. I have taken them out, laid them flat over my cart when I have to haul things out from the door of whatever the store is to my car. Maybe it's big items, big Nerf guns or something, and you don't want to get it rained on massively. You can take those bags and just kind of lay it over the cart to kind of shield it from the rain a little bit. I've done that. So bags come in super handy. If you don't already have a bag, a roll of bags, grab yourself a roll of bags. I'm going to put that up there. I'm running out of space here. All right. I want to talk a little bit about extras, backups, and computers, and then we're going to get into the ShipStation photos that I pulled that are just inspirational for packing stations. So extras and backups and computers. Q4 is the worst time for your computer to go down. If you have a backup laptop or other device, this is the time. Make sure that things are up and working. You can log in. I can make sure that my passwords aren't going to need to be reset, that just anything that could get in the way. Make sure you do like a once over on all the health of your computer stuff. Update those browsers. I use LastPass, and LastPass keeps all my passwords. And then I have my travel laptop. So my travel laptop bag is this obnoxious colored one over here. Why is it obnoxious color? Because people don't steal. If it looks like a, fruity tooty bag of non-consequential stuff, it's less of a target for stealing. And that's what I run there. So if I want to work out of my mom's place or another place, I can grab my go bag for work. It has all sorts of stuff already set in there that I would need: pens, pencils, Post-its, I don't know, just like a travel workstation. I've had that since the kids were little, because sometimes I'd have to go to, a birthday party or the roller rink or whatever it was, and I want to do some work. So I'm going to grab my go bag. And because it's very bright and colorful and it looks like, oh, that person's just probably a mom that has fruit snacks in there, it's not an ideal candidate for thievery. Now, if you want a nice, slick, leather briefcase looking thing that looks like it has $1 million in it, go for it. I'd put an air tag in that thing for sure. Anyhow, so I want to get out that extra laptop that I have for traveling, make sure that it's up and going, make sure that it's compatible with my Dymos, with any other software that you're going to be using. I just got fixed on Amazon my insurance. So that had been battling since August. It took 2 months for them to fix it. I had some glitch in my insurance thing, and it wouldn't take my new insurance uploading. So all those things you want to kind of hammer out at this time of year. And I like to get them all wrapped up by the end of October, because then it's go time for, I don't want to do any of that stuff come November 1st. I'm not going to be changing passwords November, December. I'm not going to be installing new software November, December. I'm not going to be learning new programs November, December. It is not the time to try new things out. Kind of like they say, if you are getting ready for an important interview or date or whatnot, that's not the time to try out a new outfit or a new diet or a new whatever. You want to go with your go-to that's going to make you confident and make it streamlined. Don't add that extra stress to your life. Not a good time. Okay, what else do I have here? Shipping stations. Okay. You cannot see mine, but underneath these boxes, I have all my basic supplies in this area right here. I can't move the table. I'm in the middle of a couple of shipments. Not going to work. I don't think I have, these supplies are kind of good. I do have this somewhat organized. It looks fairly nice. I spent a day kind of putting that stuff all together. I've got extra printer paper, extra shipping labels. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see here. These guys. I always keep extra 30 up labels. If I have to, if my Dymos go down, I can print it off with my Canon. And the shipping labels, which are somewhere in here. I think the shipping labels are now up in this box. So the ones that run through your computer, have that as a backup, because if you need to print shipping labels and your Dymo goes down, man, sometimes that thing gets jammed up with stickers, and I do not have the patience, it's 10 o'clock at night, to try and unstick it. Otherwise, I will throw the thing through the window. I'm not having it. So I will just bust out my sheets of paper and run them through the printer, the old style, peel them off and stick them. And if out of an absolute worst, I've had to print them out on paper and physically tape them onto boxes. Don't suggest doing that if you're in the height of Q4. It's time consuming, but if you got to get it done, you got to get it done. Things happen. What else do I have over here? I have one box that has all my old cell phone junk in it, like old cell phones. I have one that has cables. I have office supplies, and I have this one's my mailing. So if I need to mail a letter, I've got like stamps and address labels and stuff in there. So however you want to organize your stuff that makes sense to you. I have found listening to the Clutterbug really inspirational. She kind of says, you have different styles of organizing, and that really resonated with me. I'm a visual organizer, and so every time I would try to hide stuff, it wouldn't work for me. I'd be very frustrated because it was like I have to see my stuff. That's why my area always looks messy. If you put it in a drawer, I forget about it. It's, I can know my files are in this drawer and they're all labeled very colorfully. So whatever works for you is the best option for organizing your stuff. Now I have all my wrapping paper over here. I love that hack. I saw that. These are the IKEA grocery bag holders. Super simple. You mount them to the wall and then they hold all your wrapping paper. So things like that are fun and nice to add to your area should you need some upgrading there. All right, let me bring up these. I love looking at other people's inspiration. We're going to be doing that. There we go. All right, there is a lot of videos out there, and Pinterest is also a great, great spot to go and get. I'm going to tell you what I've tried and what kind of doesn't work for me as well. I have tried these guys where it's standing up and or the paper is laid over something. It becomes a hot mess in less than 30 seconds. My boxes, I always have too many or not enough, and it becomes, I get like overwhelmed by it because I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't look like the picture, and it just doesn't work for me. I buy in stacks of 25, and so none of my stacks are ever going to look like this. It just doesn't, this is unobtainable for me. These little guys are kind of nice, but not, I don't know, I don't see them as practical, and I don't have space in my house. This I liked. I thought this was pretty clever. Looks like just a little walkway through maybe their mudroom area or right into their house. They've just used a back wall. I love how cutesy tootsie this is, the little lights and the decoration. It wouldn't happen on my dime, but I think it's nice. I like how they have their boxes stacked up there. That makes more sense to me, to have them stacked vertically than, stacked horizontally than vertically, because my vertical ones always fall over and make a mess. They've got paper right here, which is nice. I do like this pegboard with, I don't think you can see it, but there is a label holder. Now I have it's a bracelet holder that I found at Marshall's that holds my labels like that, but it's out in the garage, so I don't have it. I can't grab it for you real quick. Do like that. I think the clipboard's kind of nice if you had people working for you. That's kind of a nice thing. I do like all the little doodads here that you may need if you were that type of package person. I'm not quite sure what's going over here. I do like these buckets. These buckets are Dollar Tree buckets, which is, they're nice. They can be used for all sorts of things around the house. For $1.25, definitely worth grabbing some. And I use them all the time for random stuff. You know, I'm working on a project, I grab a bucket. Here's another one I like looking at. We've got this pegboard back here. I have never had any luck with doing these pegboard things in my home, but my garage, I have this peg, not this particular pegboard. I have the cheap stuff from Home Depot and use it, and it is great. I have not implemented it in any of my shipping stations. This looks like an Etsy seller too. They've got nice thank you letters, and they've got business cards and just, you know, cute little stuff. I'm not sure why they got tea here. Like that stuff perplexes my mind. Like, why do you need tea bags there? Are you selling tea? I don't know. They do have the Dymo printer. This is probably more along my style. There's lots of videos out here with workstations. I love these big industrial shelvings. They hold a lot of stuff. This is what I'm talking about. Here's their flat rate padded mailers from UPS. They've got the other mailers that are free at UPS. Not UPS, USPS. Good Lord. I'm constantly messing that one up in life too. When I tell the kids I got to go to the store, it's hard. That's why I usually say post office versus UPS or Mr. T's office. Mr. T runs the joint, but Mr. T just retired, so now I got to figure out who the new owner is. They've got containers down here. This is nice. All their extra tape. Easily visible to see what the heck is going on. And this is kind of clever, just putting the tape right there. Nothing, it does not have to be super, what do you call it? Not cluttered. It could be simple. It doesn't have to be complex. This one is a terrible picture, but I did like that this is one of those, what do they call it? Bread shelves or kitchen. You can get them for the kitchen. and they are at Walmart for probably $100, perhaps, maybe 120. And that makes a really easy station that you could put in the back of your kitchen corner or something. These are shoebox boxes. I probably have these. I think I do have these with the blue lid. They run about $1 to $2 a box. I will say that I have bought the cheap ones on Amazon, and I've bought the nicer ones that were running more towards $2 a box. And if I had to do it over again, I'd buy the $2 ones. The ones that you just saw in the back of my office, those are the cheap ones, and they are so flimsy. I might upgrade them to a nicer clear box. But that's me. This is where your organization style comes into play. Does a clear box more appealing to you or a solid box? Because when I tried the solid box, I love the way it looks, but it drives me nuts because I don't see what's in it, and I need to have a label on the outside or see through it. All right, there's another one that's been absolutely my favorite. I love this station. I wish I had this station. So many things are going on good here. This floating shelf, they probably got on sale. There's different floating shelves at Home Depot. Or not floating, they're just regular. IKEA is a great place to go get shelving. They've got everything kind of lined up. You can easily see their shipping tape, their boxes, their extra boxes, some supplies here. They've got those shoe boxes again to easily put, whatever they need in there. I don't know if I need a cutting board. That's kind of interesting. I don't feel like in the retail, in our sector, a cutting board would do anything. Like, I don't sell anything that I need a cutting board for. So I'm kind of curious what their business is. The boxes down here, that's really nice. I think it's nice and organized. It allows you to have quite a few. So I could see myself using this type of box organization for sure. They got a little stool to work on here. Big trash can. I like a big trash can in your work area. I like the pegboard. This is more my style where you can easily kind of change it if you need to, to adapt to whatever you're selling. Love the big roll of bubble wrap up here. Definitely eyeballing that. You could put craft paper up here, but I do like the big rolls of bubble wrap. This is nice. This is for peanuts. I do not use peanuts for anything. Peanuts are a no-no. If you're ever thinking about doing peanuts, just smack yourself in the face and say, no peanuts. People on eBay don't like getting peanuts. Nobody likes getting peanuts. I hate to tell you, nobody likes getting peanuts. The only time I've ever used peanuts is if I have peanuts delivered to me and I'm going to ship them out in holiday boxes with gifts in there, and I will reuse those peanuts so they don't go in the landfills. But peanuts are a big no-no. Now, I know that maybe your business model is different, but if you're doing Amazon FBM, if you're doing Amazon FBA, peanuts are an absolute no-no. They are against policy. eBay, you could probably get away with it, but nobody likes peanuts, I'm telling you. I like their whiteboard. That's nice to jot down, keep organized there. And this is the craft paper on a table. Looks like they got a small, maybe that's an 18-incher. I typically get the 36-inch long craft paper, but that makes sense if you're having just a little work table to put your craft paper, downsize to the 18-inch so it fits nicely on the craft paper. This little holding thing is at IKEA. I've seen that before. All right, this one I grabbed to save because I liked this for a couple of reasons. One, it's simple. It goes in a small area of your house. You've got two little filing areas and a calendar, and then just a little spot to hold your markers. This is clever. What they did was they wrote themselves a family calendar, put it into a frame, and just put that frame on the wall. And then they've got the marker so you can mark up the frame and then wipe it down at the end of the month. I think this is really clever and needed, especially during Q4. During Q4, we've got a lot of things going on, especially if you have kids, and it's important to stay organized. So we do it electronically. We have electronic tabs and an electronic calendar. But if you just wanted to jot down maybe menus, meal planning, when you're going shopping, where you're going shopping to, I could see this being used for a lot of different things. I also like that you can bring in and drag and drop your physical papers. Maybe you want to keep your receipts here. I could totally see this being used for shopping. You know, I'm going to go to this store on Monday, this store on Tuesday, this store is going to be a pack day, etc. And then dropping your receipts in here when you get back so that they stay tidy, because you have to keep all your receipts for taxes. This is a big packing station. Let me see here. It does not have a price on it, but you can, if you have the money, buy one of these. I don't see myself ever getting one of these, but maybe if you had a big warehouse and you had maybe 6 packers and you wanted to get packing stations for a warehouse build out, you could go to Uline, Grainger, have some great options. I honestly, when I've priced these out, they are several $1,000s. They're gorgeous. They're hefty. They will last you a long time. They come with that bar so that you can put your packing paper on there, and they're very nice, but I don't see this ever working its way into my station. I like things a little bit more customizable. Here's another one with that. I want to say they're just a kitchen rack, and they've used it for a little corner for packing supplies. I love the basket up here. Baskets are really nice because they are kind of prettier to look at, and you can put a lot of different things in there. So if you're looking for just a small shipping station that will fit in your house, here's another example of that. All right, this one was a little bit nicer, a little bit more dreamy, in my opinion, not really realistic, but I love looking at these things so I can get some inspiration for my areas to do. And this is what I was talking about with updating or nicer, instead of the shoebox clear containers, these are a little bit nicer. Now, they're not labeled, and unlabeled would drive me nuts, but it does have a nice aesthetic view because you can literally put whatever cluttery crud in here, and then when you put the lid on, it looks nice. So I would totally have somebody over to my house and not be embarrassed to show them this area, because you can, at the end of the day, pick up and put everything in your boxes, and it looks very nice and tidy. Back here, they kind of have an unrealistic little computer station, but you know what? You do need to have a computer station somewhere so that you can set up your labels. We've got like a little photo peg, and they've got their wrapping paper probably in a little basket back here. Oh, these are baskets. So these are baskets. These are, looks like material or cardboard of some sort. If I have the money, I might do that, but these things are so expensive. I go down to Michael's or whatnot, and they want, $5 to $10 a container, and I just don't have that. This is more along my style. This is probably what a lot of our shipping stations look like. They're more function over looks. And while I like to look at the other ones and gain inspiration, this is probably more practical and easy, more a reality. So they've got, I believe this is their scale. I'm not quite sure what that is. They've got some office supplies here. One of these drawers probably has poly bags or paper in it. They've got a rack for tools. I do like having a rack for tools because when we were in the warehouse and we had several people working, having all the tools in one spot was really nice, because sometimes you need a tool and it's good to group them up. I do like that. After reading the KonMari book of tidying up, grouping all like with like has been very important in my household. We try very hard to put all the like with like, all the flashlights are together, all the batteries are together, all the tools are together, so that when we are missing something or needing something, we know where to look and it's not all scattered around the house. All right, over here, what do they got? They've got some, I don't know what these are. They look like spice jars. So just kind of weird, random stuff. Makes you wonder. This looks like stamps. Maybe they do stamping business. Maybe they're crafty and they make paper cards or something, custom paper cards. I don't know. This last one I'm going to share with you. I thought this was interesting and very clever. They did the simple wire rack. This is the cheapest wire rack you can get down at the Home Depots. I think you can get it at Walmart too. I'm not quite sure. And they just took a closet apart and put the wire racking in, or maybe the wire racking was there. They've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves, and they've very minimally put all their shipping supplies in there. It is not glorious, but it is eye-pleasing. I do like the way everything's lined up. I don't know if they have OCD, but I do like this is definitely satisfying for those of us that do have a little bit of OCD in our blood. They've got boxes, bags. I don't know what's up here on these shelves, but very simple, easy to do, affordable, putting it together, not overcomplicating it. Oh, where'd my face go? All right. Perfect. So that was my inspiration for the day. And with that inspiration, I too am inspired and will be cleaning up around here and just getting everything, kind of making sure everything is good to go. I started doing a little bit in the garage yesterday. We had just junk everywhere. So again, grouping like with like. I've gone through my pantry and thrown out anything that was expired. We did that in the refrigerator too. Just getting ready for Q4. Cleaning out the refrigerator is another one that I do around this time, so that when it comes to baking and leftovers and holiday eating, all of my fridge and pantry is kind of clean and ready to go. Getting stocked up on anything, if you do any baking or anything for the holidays, this is a good time. Yes, clear space is headspace. Absolutely, William. I like that one for sure. And that's definitely helps me. If I go into a room and it's cluttered and it's all over the place, it builds my anxiety up. If I can't find my tape gun, I'm like, what's going on? So just going around my areas and decluttering the best I can, kind of clear things up. I also was trying to explain that to my daughter, because that's another one. They've done studies on this. If you go into a room and, it's like this area over here, you got, kind of a mess, your brain is trying to process all of those things. So if you have a clear area, it's easier on your head. Like this area, I absolutely love, because it's like, I know where all my stuff is. It's labeled, I can see it, but it also is kind of all together and visually appealing, and my kids can go and find what they need when they need it. Like up here is all our extra notepads. I've got one of those things, like if you go into an interview and it's a nice little pad holder thingy, all of that is there, and it's not anywhere else in the house. Now I do have a few other areas that are organized like that, and I absolutely love it. It's calming when I go in, and so it makes me want to do more areas like that. The other areas are my pantry, my clothes, obviously my work stuff, and then I have some areas that aren't done yet. And those areas, when I go in, I can feel the difference in anxiety with me, just frustration, and I can't find things and I get irritated with it. So this all plays into Q4. One of the things with clothing that I did a few years back was I put together, and in my closet, I have like outfits. So I have dedicated pants that look good with a shirt, and I put them in, because I was finding that if I had to pick out my outfit in the morning without coffee, I was spending 3 times as long trying to make this decision than if I did it the night before when I was more mentally awake, or if in the afternoon. And so I was like, well, I'm going to try it for a week. I'm just going to get some of those closet dividers that you put on, and I just got some colored ones. They don't, like at the store, they say small, medium, and large, but you can get them on Amazon that are colorful or white or whatever. I just got some colored ones, put them up there. I'm like, I'm going to try it. It's I think a $6 investment and a little bit of time. And I went through and I always like this shirt with these pants. Okay, put them together and put them up there. And then I'd be like, oh, I love this shirt, but I don't have a pair of pants. And then I'd find a pair of pants, get the pair of pants, and now I have a great outfit. And I put them together on this thing, and it worked so well for me. I will continue to do this probably for the rest of my life. It's just nice to wake up and you go in, you're like, okay, I've got these 8 outfits to choose from. I'm going to pick, this one based off of wherever you're going for the day. And that has been a game changer. William says, get your car tuned up and your oil changed. Absolutely. That is a great tip right there. This is a good time, October. Get that oil check, change tires. You do not want to be caught in the snow with crummy tires. I don't know. I'm not in an area where we change to snow tires, but I have a friend who goes over the mountains all the time. So this is the time of year that they're changing the tires out to their snow tires. That is a great, great time to do that. For my dogs, we just got their vet stuff all done. So they're done. Everybody's had their shots, their vets, their medical checkups. I've had my checkups. I've had my flu shot, my COVID shot, my annual, my mammogram, did all the things so that I am good to go and I don't have to worry about that. Now, I did have a problem. Like Tina and I, we barely got together. This has been bad. My crown fell out on Friday night. So I now have an emergency dental appointment on Monday morning. I want to get that changed and get that fixed for going into Q4 because things will happen. I mean, that's just life, right? So you want to make sure that when you have this downtime that you're taking care of all the things that are easy, that are easy when you have the downtime, because I know during Q4 something's going to happen. I don't know what, like that's just how it's going to be. I don't know whether, we'll have a sickness, an injury, if I'll get the flu, you just never know. So I want to make sure I have all of that ready to go and lined up. We recently changed medical insurance. And so now I'm in a completely different system than the old system. So we also had our quick care center went out of business. I don't know what happened, but they shut down. So I'm like, shoot, where do I go if I cut my hand open? I'm opening a box and I cut my hand. Where do I go? And we got that straightened out. It's these new clinics down the street, but the whole process is new. And that whole newness, you want to work through anything like that while you have the time and the mental capacity, not when it's under pressure. Because when it's under pressure, man, it's really hard to do those types of things, like changing your oil and your tires when you have problems. Okay. If anybody else has any tips for packing supplies, please put them down in the comments. I'm sure that everybody here appreciates. I always like being reminded of all of those things and anything new that you come up with. I was trying to think. I have Scotty peelers, but they're somewhere else. Scotty peelers are great to have on hand. There's tons of videos out there on what supplies do you need as a reseller. Like watching those, put those in the background, seeing what kind of tools they recommend, and building. You're going to build your tools and supplies as you go. Mousetrap style tape gun. Yeah, I have not. Do you like that kind? I have been a tape gun girl for a long time. I don't know if I could do one of those, but I'd be willing to try it out. Same with the tape that's glue, or is that the same thing? Is it the glue ones where you run it through water? And it's not water. I'm sorry. It is paper tape that you either run through glue or you run through water, and then you put it onto the box. It's the stuff that Amazon uses. Whatever this black tape is, those guns, that taping method, I have not tried yet, but I've heard good things about it. Find a local box supplier. Yep. Finding a local box supplier is very nice and good to have on hand. Yeah. I like to have everything kind of lined up. Like my dog's vet people is up on the refrigerator. So I know in an emergency, what the procedure is. Cause we had that happen. I don't think I shared on here about a month or so ago. My little dog, the one that just threw up in the back there, at least, I don't know, she was hacking. She had a seizure, and it was the scariest thing ever. And my brain just went completely blank, So I ran to the fridge, got the magnet. The magnet has the number to call in case of emergency. Called that, trying to get into the right thing. Anyhow, we got her into the clinic, and we got now seizure meds for her. But that type of stuff is scary. And for me, I know that if I know where to go look for the information, if I have it somewhere accessible, it's just eases mine. Same with emergency kits. We've been doing that. I always keep extra water, extra soup, extra just add hot water type of meals, because we have had the power go out for 3 days in a bad windstorm. And my house gets cold. We have firewood, so we want to make sure that we have firewood going into the winter. And my go-to is I want to have enough to survive 3 days. After 3 days, then it's typically things don't amount to more than 3 days. Now, if you want to be a doomsday prepper, more power to you. I live in an area where we could collect rainwater if I needed to. I'm not worried about water in Washington. We got lots of water here. Collecting rainwater is not a big problem. Our hot water is on gas, so I don't really have to heat water for that. And then I do keep, I'll say, enough food for probably a couple of weeks out, in my garage and things, just It's not going to be the best eating. I'll tell you that right now. It's not going to be any gourmet, but I have had to dump and put it out on the barbecue or on the fireplace. We do make sure that we have propane at all times so that if we did need to cook out on the grill for a couple of days because the power's out, we could do that. So having those things just puts me at ease of mind. Not saying that we are going to have any catastrophe, but things happen. There's been earthquakes, there's been power outage, there's been windstorms that take out things. It happens. William says, I don't need to be a doomsday prepper. I have plenty of Peeps and soap. Well, I don't know. How many days could you eat Peeps for? That's why, I've got pasta and beans and rice and stuff out in my stockpile. And then the rest of it's like cake mix and frosting. It wouldn't be the best eating. We'd probably be having plain noodles and maybe a little bit of sauce and then some cake mix mixed with water. I don't know. It wouldn't be pretty, but I've looked at those emergency foods and they are expensive. So I would rather just buy a couple extra cans of soup at Costco and call it good. All right, guys, I got to get moving and grooving here. I hope everybody here has a wonderful day. Good luck with all of your shipping this week and have a great week.